Yo, what up, YouTube? You already know it's your boy Zah, man. Let me just get into it real quick because I've been seeing a lot of disturbing things going on social media, especially. I think this is what I don't get, and I said this a while ago because it's like I said, the proof is in the pudding. Dudes love to throw out this. It's about, when it comes to other races, like it's basically their business and there's no need for us to talk about it. And for the most part, anybody that has ever maneuvered or been in those type of situations know what to say and what not to say in order to stay out the fray and not delve too deep into other people's business. But I noticed there's a lot of channels on here that I'm watching going a little bit too deep into homies' business. Like, now it's one thing to talk about the gang stuff on the street without being too detailed about it, as far as like whether it was cases, especially if these cases are still open or there can be possible ramifications behind people talking on such things. I would figure that people refrain from that, but now I'm seeing, people outright talking about homies' business. Like, at the end of the day, like, and I say this with all due respect to anybody that's on social media talking about the homies' business, as far as who's in the hat, why they're in the hat. If you don't think they're in the hat, you don't really know why they're in the hat, but they're in the hat and you speak on it, that you're pretty much in violation of everything that you supposedly hold. As far as like for people that have been incarcerated, know that when it comes to certain business and it comes to certain talking points, as far as like when it starts delving into like big homies and stuff like that, or people being no good, you know to refrain. Because if it was on the yard and I went up to and was telling the homie about some dude that may be a Apostle, Crip, or a Blood that's no good, you know what happens? For one, it's not our business. For two, if I was in earshot of any other person that may be of that faction or just run on that side, I would be in violation. Regardless of the situation, I would get the bat and the stick. I would be the one getting poked and ran up off the yard, or maybe a boo-bob, depending on how petty the other side wanted to be on making a point. But talking about black business would be an immediate violation, especially for the homies. You mind your business, you stay in your place. If it's something that involves the masses, then it's something that involves the masses. The conversation will be had with the proper people, and then other actions will be determined, especially if it involved us or could have the possibility of involving us, and that's different. But it wouldn't be said in a manner to where it's that it can be within earshot of another race, because that's a violation. That's how you get in situation. That's why fools end up blasted and getting carted off the yard for doing too much. We learn to keep our mouth shut, and for the most part, it's already been ingrained in us since juvenile hall. So we learn to refrain from saying certain things, especially when it involves other races, especially if we're not getting off immediate, because that gives you the chance to rally your forces in order to combat us. And if none of us are prepared, or the ones that should be prepared or not prepared, and you catch us off guard because one individual was running his mouth on the yard, it's gonna get cracking regardless, and the homies are gonna keep getting cracking into a squash. But the dude that started in the first place is the one that's gonna end up on the yard. And that's not talking prison politics, that's just talking common sense. This is common sense. This is stuff people should know. Now, I've seen a few channels get on this fool Dubs, and the reason I avoid Dubs as far as like saying too much on him, because I don't care. At the end of the day, we haven't ran across each other. Whatever he did, I don't care. I'm not gonna get on the internet and talk deep on, because I didn't even do it with Cabbage Studio. I didn't get on here and be like, oh, he locked up on the yard and he was on this show. I didn't do all that. Why? Because outside of not really being my business, because, well, I'll say it was somewhat of the business because he was a homie, allegedly. But if you're not going to do nothing about it, then you don't speak on it. Me and him had our issues because he knew what he was and he knew what time it was. And he just would, run his mouth like he was really going to do something, but never did, because he had my address. But I digress. But what I can understand is these dudes, I get it. Like, you want to make content, but trying to sympathize or excuse people's actions or hypotheses when you really don't know the homie's business. And I've said this a million times before. People think they know the business, but you don't. You will never know the business, because even people like me that have been around and have been involved in this for a long time don't even know that type of information, regardless of whether Dub locked it up or not. That's nobody else's business but the people that are actually going to deal with him. And for the most part, ain't nobody looking for Dubs. And if they are, I don't know about it and I don't care, because it's none of my business, just like it should be none of your business. Now I see people try to take the high road and they try to make it seem like they're holier than thou, and I never, I know the business, so I don't get involved. But you are, because anytime you go, if you say something out your mouth that has something to do with Southerners business, and not just gang, but you're talking about Southerners business when it comes to politics and not knowing why food locked it up, it doesn't matter. It's really nobody's business. And I know people like to say, oh, well, it's on social media. Regardless of whether it's on social media or not, forming opinions about a Southerner's business really makes no sense in the scheme of things outside of those that's just trying to garnish attention. Because whether Dub locked it up or not, nobody else outside of Southerners are gonna do anything about it. Just tell me this: what Crip or Blood is gonna see Dub and bust a grape? Tell me one. Even the hardest gangsters on the internet that you know are stumped down with it, they'll see Dub right now and they'll probably say what's up to him. Because why? It's not their problem. And they're going to see it like that. It's not their problem. Or they'll make an excuse like, well, he's not a snitch, or, this and that. Like, I didn't hear if he told on him. It don't matter. If he's no good, then he's just no good. We separate ourselves from that. And that's one of the reasons why people are on the internet right now talking about, oh, well, the Southerners don't run our program. No, they don't run your program, but they're not going to be around trash. If you deal with trash, you stay with trash. You will not be associated with, there will be no type of business conducted, will be no type of association, period. That's what the real thing. People try to like pussyfoot around it, but that's what it is. That's what the homies is telling. We ain't doing nothing with you. If you hang around trash, you stay on yards where there's trash at, don't come back. Because regardless, we not finna be around trash. That's just plain and simple. If you slide through the cracks, you slide through the trash. But if somebody know that you're on a trash yard, yeah, it's gonna go up either way. But that's besides the point. Because we ain't here to clean up everybody's mess, even though most of the time I end up doing it. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. Like, I don't get it. Like, people are so heavily invested in Southerners business. Like, when it comes to street stuff and gangs, that's different. You talk about gang stuff. And if that particular neighborhood is not getting offended by what you said, then it is what it is. But why come on social media and make whole stories about Southerners business? The big homies and what they do don't have nothing to do with no Crips or no Bloods. It's none of your business on why who's in the hat, or who got pulled out the hat, or who's gonna get blasted in the yard, or what their name was. Like, I noticed people are so comfortable with saying names. Okay, Yogi this and that was here with, like, why? Like, why? What? Like, if you really know the business and you supposedly been around, and I'm not talking about 1 and 2 yards, but if you really been on these 4s and 180s for more than a few months, then you should know. That's like, regardless of whether you're trying to get attention on the internet and trying to have people follow you, that's a no-no, and you should know off the bat. That's a no-no. Like, it's one of those things that's a cardinal rule. People get put in boxes for things, and that's blatant disrespect. But like I said, I'll just say this and end it, because I know at the end of the day, people are gonna constantly try to get ahead, and what they assume as getting ahead is reporting on things that have nothing to do with them. This is not pop culture. This is not about music. This is none of that. This is about politics, and you talking about other people's politics is a violation. Like, this is stuff that your homie should get at you and tell you, like, that's a no-no. Don't worry about why Paco locked it up, or whether Soldier was over here and Yogi was doing this. It's none of your business. It's not anybody reporting on it. That's not a Southern. It's really not about your business. It's none of your business. Go report on the Crips and the Bloods that are locking up that no good on the 50-50 yards. Talk on them. But worrying about why a Southerner locked it up and trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, it's not on you to give the benefit of the doubt. I don't care if he locked it up because he got in a bad situation, but he didn't tell. He still locked it up. At the end of the day, he locked it up, and that's the difference between the homies and a lot of people. There is no, oh well, he's still a good, no, because even though it may be a certain situation. The difference is, if you lock it up on this side, you get on, you get caught sipping, you're gone. Over there, I know I've seen fools do it. I don't associate with them, but I've seen fools do it, get out, and half their hood is with it and half the others, but ain't doing nothing to them. Nah, it's a different, and we know it's different. That's why when fool be putting these fabricated stories on the internet about homies being able to tell them people out, and that's just giving people that, you know what that is? That's an excuse for people that just was getting spanked, that couldn't handle the fact that they were getting spanked, and they'll use anything to discredit the homies. But you can't, because all your major, all the fools from your hood that are really the reputables, that really been around, that really laid the foundation for your hoods, will tell you that the Southerners program is tight. It's ran tight. Even I know that if I make one little mistake and mention somebody, there's consequence to it. But unlike other people, I can pull up to my hood. I know people will get at me. It's just what it is. It's different. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, dude. If you ain't a Southerner and you talking about Southern business, that's just bad. That's a bad look. And you know what? I'm gonna just tell you this. I'm nobody to tell you nothing. But as somebody that's been involved in it, I'm gonna just tell you it just looks bad. It's one thing, talk about pop culture or something. Maybe who's a rapper, maybe it's some street, like some gang stuff. Talk about it. It is what it is, especially if it's public knowledge. But to try to figure out why big homies or any of this and who put who in the hat or where they locked it up at, that's really none of your business, because you're not gonna take care of it. So what's the use of talking about it outside of getting a few views? But then the people that are applauding you right now and be the one that look at you doing your demise, or the one that's really, the ones that ain't that are really against it, ain't even commenting on your thing. They're just in their head like, man, what's this dude talking about? What are these dudes talking about? It's not your business. You're not a Southerner, so why worry about it? Like, it just don't make no sense. I'm not getting on here talking about Crip business and you know, locking up in the pen and this food. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do that. But anyways, your boy Zion, I'm out.